Hello! I was almost late again. Um, I had a whole setup. I was filming something else, so I have this three camera setup going, and it's with another piece of software. Anyway, I looked at my clock and I realized, oh my God, it's 2 o'clock. So, someone tell me if you're here and if you can hear me. Um, there's always like a 30-second delay, so I don't know if anyone's here yet. But if you are, somebody tell me in the live chat and let me know if you can hear me okay. Because I also, uh, it's again giving me you're not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Okay, I changed all of my settings. I'm using a totally different piece of software now. Um, so I don't know. Uh, am I out of sync again? It's giving me the angry message, the YouTube angry message again. Um, so someone tell me. Okay, whatever. This is driving me insane. I feel less, ever since quarantine, I feel significantly less like a knitwear designer and knitting teacher and more like, I don't know, a film producer. So, I mean, you guys should see the backdrop of what's happening here. Um, I have a front light, an overhead light. I have another light over here. I have two cameras over here. It's crazy. Um, Yay! Hi, you guys. Okay, I'm just catching up on comments here. You can see me, you can hear me. Yay! Um, Still in sync. Woohoo! Okay, the audio isn't very far off. So for some, it is in sync, and for some, it's almost in sync. Okay, well, I'll take it. I'll take that. Um, Hi, I can't believe it's been a week already. um, we are in week 5 of quarantine here in New York. Um, Tell me, by the way, if anyone out there, I know there are parts of the country that aren't in quarantine at all. There are parts of the country that have not, we don't call it a lockdown here in New York. We call it a pause, which I like. I like the way that our governor says that. But tell me if anyone else is not on a pause and you're, still like going to restaurants and going to movies because what's that like? Anyone out there going to restaurants and going to the movie theaters and going to stores? Because that hasn't happened for 6 weeks here. I mean, I'm in my 5th week of quarantine, but a week before that, we stopped all of that nonsense. But anyway, hi. It's been a crazy busy week. So I just want to tell you what I've been up to. For those of you who follow me on the Instagram, Monday was a really busy day. So first of all, I did a stupid thing. Sorry, I decided I was going to be knitting, so I started knitting. Oh, in Iowa, lots of stuff's closed, but we are no official stay at home. Really? Yeah, I agree with your assessment of your governor there. Um, Interesting. Uh, wow, crazy pants. Sorry, I was just reading comments. It probably makes for a really interesting video, you watching me reading. That's why I need a director. Anyway, Monday. So Monday was a really busy day. I'm going to catch up on comments in a second, but I end up being sort of squirrel when it comes to comments. So I'm going to tell you about how I'm going to avoid that with my live class. So first of all, Sunday, the Palm Canyons Knit Along, the first part of it dropped. So, join in anytime, by the way. We only just cast on, and anytime you get it between now and June 1st, you get it on sale. So Sunday was already really busy. But then, like an idiot, I decided to take Monday. I wasn't thinking. Vogue Knitting Live offered all of the teachers an opportunity to take over their Instagram account for a day. So I had logged on a while ago and just picked a date. I picked Monday. Monday, the day after the knit along goes live. So Monday was pants on fire crazy. So, first of all, what it means to take over an Instagram account is you're posting on their Instagram account, on their stories, you're answering all of their comments and their questions, plus you have your own Instagram account, plus I have the Ravelry account going. Anyway, if you haven't checked out what I did for Vogue, I saved a bunch of them onto my story on Instagram, my story highlight, but I shot a bunch of videos for them. And that was really challenging because they had to be a minute. So I did 5 technique videos. Only 4 of them could I get to be a minute. One of them I edited and edited and edited, and it ended up being a minute 40. So that ended up on their IGTV channel. So I did some quick video techniques, and that was really fun. So you guys can check that out. So Monday was really, really wackadoo. Today, the reason I got distracted, and I've got the 3 camera shoot going. So I have one camera that's up high for more of a wide overhead view, like if I need to show something larger. And then I have another camera that right here underneath my hands. So the reason I have that set up is for Mason-Dixon knitting. So does anyone out there read Mason-Dixon knitting? Anyone? Let me know. We're about a 30-second delay, so it takes me a while. I write a column for them called Ask Patti, and you can write me questions. So someone asked me a question today, and actually, I mean, not today, but I'm writing a column today. This was from a few weeks ago. And I didn't have the answer. So I've gone down a super deep rabbit hole trying to invent some things. And I did invent, pretty sure I invented it. I Googled and Googled and Googled, and I can't find anyone that came up with this. Or at least not in the way that I'm doing it. I saw one other person that came up with something, but it's really different, and I like the way mine looks better. So the question was about paired cast on and bind offs, and I won't tell you what it was, but it was about a certain bind off that she learned, and she wondered if there was a paired cast on. So I'm still working on that. I'm still working to try to invent that. But when I got frustrated and I couldn't invent it, I remembered another request that I get from a class that I teach called Fantastic Cast On and Bind Offs, which is paired cast on and bind offs that look good together. And I do another one called Decorative Cast On and Bind Offs, which is paired decorative ones. But one of the cast ons I teach in decorative cast on and bind offs is Channel Island Cast On. And every time I teach the class, someone says, "Is there a Channel Island bind off?" And I'm like, "No, there's not." So I invented one, and it's really pretty. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm gonna do that thing I do with Mason-Dixon, where someone asks me a question and I answer it, but then I'm like, and now I'm going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't ask. So it made me go down a rabbit hole of paired cast on and bind offs. But anyway, I'm just going to quickly catch up on some comments here. So hello. Oh, you're casting on today. Excellent. Oh, you saved all my videos. Yay. Oh, Madrid, serious lockdown in Madrid. Catherine, how long? Where are, like, we're in week 5 here in New York. What are you on? What are you on in Madrid? Day 33 in Houston. Okay, I'm catching up. So that's lockdown. Mason-Dixon, yes. Yes, you read Mason-Dixon. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, you guys you should write to me, to the Ask Patti email. It's at the bottom of every column. There's the Gmail address for Ask Patti. So send me your questions. And also, I'll be honest, most of them have been technique questions. It's been a long time since someone's written me kind of a funny, what I call lifestyle question. Like I had a question about, what do you do when people keep sending you, when all your non-knitting friends keep sending you the same knitted article that's like from 5 years ago about knitting for chickens or knitting for penguins. And, I've had questions about what do you do when your husband buys a store-bought, a machine knit hat when he knows you knit. How do you feel about that? Just like all those type of questions. So I'm running out of those, and I love those questions. I like to balance the technique columns with those. Like I had a question that was kind of serious. With a mom wrote that her daughter got in trouble in college for knitting during a lecture, and got called to the professor's office. And did I have any? And the daughter said, "Okay, I won't knit." And it really made the mom mad, who also knits, because her mom had the same argument with her boss in meetings. And she was asking, is there any scientific evidence that says you can concentrate better when you knit? And so I looked it up, and I was like, well, yes, there is. So there. Oh, week 5 in Madrid. Yeah, week 5. Yeah, not going out for anything but food. Same with us. We try to be really good about grocery shopping, and New York is masks not required. It's not like the law, but they are saying to stores, we will back you if you will not admit anyone that's not wearing a mask. So we try to be really good about shopping. We are really efficient. We get in, we get out. We don't take, like, the advice is go shopping alone to reduce crowds, but that's not good advice if you're in New York and you're carrying all your stuff. So my husband and I go shopping together, because then we can shop 2 weeks worth of stuff and carry, 2 weeks worth of produce that's going to last 2 weeks, all that stuff. So did anyone see the pictures of people in, it wasn't Madrid, was it Florence? Trying to remember. It was somewhere in Italy, and it was people sunbathing out their window, but the particular photo was only legs. So it's a photo of an apartment building with just, like, there's the wall of the building. It's just legs sticking out of windows. It's kind of hilarious. So there. So the other thing that made my week really, really, really busy was getting the platform up and running. And there was a last minute technical glitch of getting my first video class up and going, my first webinar, which is Easy Does It, Unraveling the Secrets of Sweater Construction in Ease. And I had promised my newsletter group that the newsletter was going out over the weekend. And there was an issue with the integrating PayPal with the platform. It was locked. It was a long and stupid story. But I had to send out the newsletter saying, registration is going to be open and I'll send you an update. So Monday, I opened up registration for the 2 class sessions that I'm running live, April 24th at 1:30 and April 25th at 1:30. The reason I chose 1:30 is because if it's your first time ever taking a Zoom webinar, I recommend that you arrive to the room about 20 minutes before to make sure that you can hear okay, you've tested your speakers, you downloaded the app, you'll be prompted to download the app. It's really easy. It's just a click link and, But that way I thought, oh, well, that time works for the West Coast, because that's like 10 o'clock to 10:30ish, all the way into different areas of Europe, where we might be 5, 6, 7 hours ahead. So people might be taking classes live with me anywhere between 10:30 in the morning to, say, 8:30 at night. So 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern time seemed perfect. So the way it works, and I've already had hundreds of signups. It's crazy how fast these classes are filling. I actually had to up the registration amount. The way these work is if you attend live, you're able to participate in the question and answer. So you know how I said, isn't it fun to watch me read Isn't that boring? So I solved that by asking my Ravelry moderator, Pam, to be the moderator of the webinars. So the way it's going to work is I don't even have the chat box, the Q&A box open, because if it's open, I'm going to look at it and I'll get distracted while I'm teaching. I'm going to be asking at the beginning, I'm going to say, don't type questions in the Q&A box right away, because just like I do with a live class, when someone raises their hands to ask a question and I'm 5 minutes into the class, and I say, what? Hang on to questions until I start teaching, because it's likely your question's going to be answered in my teaching. So I'm going to say at the beginning of the webinar, jot down your questions for yourself as they pop in your head, because often as I teach, I'll answer them and then you can cross them out. And only if you're really sure that I've passed that topic and your question still hasn't been answered, then type it into the Q&A box. Then at the end of the class, when we do the last half hour of question and answer, Pam will have been reading through all the Q&As and cutting and pasting some into a private chat box just between the two of us. That way, if 4 people have asked the same question, she can, say, a lot of people have asked, blah, blah, blah. So the advantage to attending live is A, it's fun because it's live and I can't edit it afterwards and clean myself up. It just is what it is. B, you get the introductory rate, which is 15% off, which I'm doing just for this first time because y'all are my guinea pigs and you're trying this out with me for the first time, and it, hopefully it will be smooth as silk, but who knows? So that's why it's only $16.99. And then 48 hours after the webinar is over, you will get an email with a link with a password. So it's just that password. It's going to be a one-time only thing. So don't get cute and try to share that with your friends, because then you won't get to download your class. And also, please, 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 help us make a living. Don't ever share links. Promise me. You guys all need to say, I promise. So you will get a link and a password to the webinar that you'll be able to download so you can watch as many times as you want. You'll own it. Plus a PDF of a free ebook on sweater fit. So there. Okay, I'm going to catch up on questions now. Let's see what's happening. Oh, hi, Linda. Linda's here. I'm here a little late. We have to take a market wagon. I don't know what that, and only one person per household is permitted. What's a market wagon? Does it come and pick a bunch of folks up at once? So you don't have to have a car, which is amazingly brilliant if that's the case. Because here in New York, we don't have anything like that. But that's kind of super cool. Only one per household. Yeah, I mean, the give and take of that is only one per household keeps the crowds down in the shop. But I read an article about this saying, it's a tough decision for stores what they're going to do. But on the other hand, then you can't carry as much and you end up going more frequently, which is not good. So we kind of feel like if the two of us go together and we can get in and get out, we go less frequently, which is important. Oh yeah, no, I had said that earlier about masks required in New York. Well, they're not making it against the law, but they're saying shops are allowed to turn you away, and the state will back you on the state will back the shop on that. Yeah, you get an ebook. I was at the CVS and they had a sign saying 10 people only in the store, and they had a guy with a clipboard. So I saw the sign and I stopped in the doorway and I kind of peeked in and I was like, can I, because I don't know how many people in the store. I was like, can I come in? And there was a guy with a clipboard going yep. So he was keeping track of how many people came in. The hard thing about that for New York, the mayor said they're going to, sorry, I got distracted by my own knitting, put signs in the door saying, masks are required and you can be denied entry. The problem is for a small bodega, they don't have enough money to have an extra staff person hired to stand by the door turning people away. So it's kind of going to have to be a little bit faith-based. So, you know, so that's been my week. My week has been filling class orders like crazy because it's so nice of you. You guys are ordering a lot of DVDs, a lot of digital downloads. So I've been shipping like mad. My postman said the other day, "Do you normally have this many package pickups?" And I was like, "Well, normally most of my package pickups are from Brooklyn. And when I'm here, I'm not really doing that. But now I've brought my printer and my shipping supplies and my DVDs. Like we moved here about 5 weeks ago. So there's that. So I've been doing that. And today is the very last day. Oh, I'll show you what I'm knitting in a second. Is the very last day of registration for, not registration, the very last day of kit orders for the Seagate sweater kit. So I've also been filling those orders like crazy. And for those of you who are in the first batch of orders in March, I'll be emailing everyone with an update. Obviously, California is a shelter-in-place state, which meant Anzula turned into a one-woman show. So and Anzula is hand-dyed to order. So she's hand-dyeing all by herself every single skein. So things are obviously a little slower than the normal 3 to 4 weeks for your hand-dyed order. So I'm going to give you an update on that. How do we get the info in the live class? I've subscribed to your newsletter. Then you got to check your spam. So Janice, if you subscribe to my newsletter, you would have gotten the newsletter. However, it is a self-cleaning list. So if you haven't opened a newsletter in 6 months in a row, you get booted off the list. So check your spam, see if it's in there. If it's not, just go to my website, pattylyons.com. It's right there on the homepage and you can register there. But also email me at info@pattylyons.com with your email address and I'll check your subscription. What happens a lot of times is people will say, "I'm on your newsletter group, but I haven't gotten your newsletter." And I'll check the email and one of two things. Either they're all sent and none of them are opened, which means you just miss them. Like they come to you, but you never open. Or a ton of them will say opened. And I'll say, does someone else have access to your email? Because you open that email on such and such a date and they'll email me back and say, oh yeah, I did open it. I just totally forgot about it. So anyway, there's that. Oh, you don't have cars? I meant a little market. Oh, a little market bag on wheels. Oh, like how big? Because, yeah, we'd have to have big. When is the last day for registration? The last day for registration for which of my many things? So for Palm Canyon, the video sweater class that's happening right now, you can join anytime between now and June 1st. Just pop in while it's still on sale. For the Seagate sweater kit, today is the last day for ordering for that. For the classes, the two webinar sessions, April 24th and 25th, you can register right up to the point as long as they don't sell out. So once they fill, they close. So there you go. Oh, so what am I knitting? I'm knitting, I said this last week, but so I'm a little crazy because really what I should be working on is the fall design. But for Palm Canyons, I knit one for myself out of Northfield and my friend Pam, so I'm knitting my own hair into my friend Pam knit one in Nina, and she sent me the pieces for me to block and seam and do on the show on my tutorials and have photographed. And once I saw the Nina, I was really jealous and I really wanted one in Nina. So yes, I know I'm crazy. I should actually be working on the fall sweater, but instead I ordered Nina in teal and I'm making myself yet another Palm Canyon in Nina because I really don't have time to do that, but I really want it. I really want to own it. because Nina is so, I love my Northfield, but I love the Nina. It's just so drapey, and it's, when I'm allowed to go outside again, it's going to be delicious. So I had to have it. So there you go. Oh, big enough for 2. That's good. For 2 weeks. Sorry, I'm reading the comment about, and my friend is texting me. Oh, my friend wants to know when we're going to have a TV date. We've been watching, do you have friends that you watch shows with and you save that show for them? Does anyone do that? So I watch Better Call Saul with my friend, and that now we're separated because she was in California visiting her sisters for what was going to be a week, and then the city kind of closed. So, and when she went, I'm trying to remember where I was. I don't remember. Anyway, it's already been like 6 weeks since we've seen each other because she can't get home. She's in California, and it'll probably be, I don't know, another month. So what we do is we both queue up the show, and we're texting, and we hit play at the same time, and then we like text chat during the commercial breaks. Do you plan to do more knit-alongs that are not sweaters? Maybe. I'm mostly a sweater designer, so it's possible. I'll never. I won't say never. I did one cowl, but if I don't have something new to teach, I'm not really into like the make a hat classes. Like so many knit-alongs out there, and I'm not. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just not my jam. But so many knit-alongs out there, they're really just a designer saying, let's all work this together at the same time, but there's no teaching there. I mean, there's not even, it's just like for fun. And that's cool. That's totally cool. It's just not what I do. Mine are classes. They're video classes. So if I don't have a specific technique to teach, it's not really my thing. But make a sweater. Don't be scared of sweaters. Sweaters are awesome. Wanted the teal, but they ran out? Really? Because the teal was a brand new color. I'm amazed. So I got the teal at one of the last events that I did, the second to the penultimate knitting event before the world shut down, which was Stitches West. And I saw it on the shelf at the Webb's booth, and they handed me some. I was like, I want that. But then they didn't even have the color in yet. And then they got the color in a couple weeks. So it might have been that they got like an initial order, and then all the mills closed. Most of their mills are in Italy. So that's the issue. They can't order more yarn because their mills are shut down in Italy. Fall sweater, can we request options for pockets and or buttonholes? Maybe. That's all I'm going to say. Oh yeah, dude, I knit in my hair all the time. Like all the time. Because people think curly hair is thick. It's not. It's a lot of thin hair. Our hair is really brittle, breaks all the time. So every time I take a shower, like the bottom of the shower drain looks like I murdered a small, dog or something. That's why I love yours. I learned so much. Thank you. Do you have a simple sweater design you could recommend to someone who is not a great sweater knitter? The first video sweater class we did is a perfect first sweater. It's called Corcoran, and I talked about this last week. The reason I recommend it is it's one stitch pattern throughout the entire sweater, one stitch pattern, plus it has, I think, the most extensive videos for first-time sweater knitters. Because that was my first video sweater class and I knew the group would be growing with me, I started from the very beginning. Like, how do you read a schematic? What are the numbers? How do you figure out what size to knit? How do you swatch? How do you block a swatch? It has all the seaming videos. So Corcoran, go to my website or go to my Rav page and check out Corcoran. Mine. Oh, minis. So here's what happened with minis. So when did we start? We started with the mini in Tortola, our second video sweater class. Corcoran, I simply suggested that people cast on like a little swatch to practice the stitch pattern and practice shaping, staying in pattern. Because that's the one like trick of one sort of harder, more advanced trick of that class, which is learning how to shape in lace, which is not as scary as you think. So then Tortola, we had this little swatch that we kept working through the whole class. So we started, it would teach you how to do the lateral braid, and then we did the reverse shirt tail hem and the lace and shaping in lace, and it looked like a miniature front of the sweater. We did the same thing for Harbor Springs. We had a little swatch that looked like a miniature front of the sweater. Where it got a little crazy, like full on, was for volition, because there were so many different ways one could go and I wanted people to be able to think through. I actually designed an entire miniature sweater, and I did the same thing for Palm Canyon because I want people to be able to use it to think through their choices for the neck. But the thing that just cracked me up for Volition was them, how many people posed their little Volition mini on stuffed animals and posted the pictures of their stuffed animals. That just cracked me up. And I think I put a bunch of them on my Instagram account at one point because it just slayed me. It just cracked me up. Signed up for the... That wasn't any... Wait, I've signed up for other CALs. Oh, yeah. Well, so remember with other CALs, I'm always careful because I don't want... I want to make sure that people don't expect what they're getting from me from other CALs. And that's why I say I'm launching a new video sweater class, and I'm introducing it as a knit along for fun. The reason I say that is I want to be really clear. This isn't what a knit along is. You should never expect the amount of one-on-one instruction that I do or all the video support. That's what makes it a video sweater class. And we all do it together when the new class launches for fun. But truly, a real knit along is often just a designer saying, hey, here's a pattern. Purchase it and enjoy. And like post, we'll all chat about it on a message board. And that in and of itself is fun because it's community. You're chatting with other knitters. There's prizes. Oh, I got to go. Yeah, I got to get more prizes. But, that's the distinction. Lost my mojo on Volition. Aw. Will it work without the longer bag? It will. It's a little plain. Are you nervous about how to do the short rows? Because don't be. They're super simple. But take a look at the project pictures. There's a couple people that decided to do it flat across, and the ones that are successful are the ones that made it flat across but lengthen the full sweater to the length that the back would have been. Because if you just knit it straight across, it's going to bisect your body. It's going to look really weird. There was this one knitter on the group who was positive that's what they wanted to do. And I was, trying to say it's not really going to look good because the slope from the front of your body to the back of the body is part of what makes your legs look longer. It elongates the sweater. It's part of the design. It looks really good. And she was like saying in another group, like, she said it's Volition. I should be able to do whatever I want. I'm going to do that. And so she did. And then she frogged it because she was like, it looks terrible on me. Like, I know, I tried to help. So just think about why you don't want it longer in the back. The longer in the back part is part of what makes it a little bit elegant and gives you that elongated line. So if you're going to just chop it off flat all the way, knit the whole body longer. So take a look at other people's project pictures. It'll really help you see what is good and what's not good. Minis are great. Yay. Yeah, because someone said today, oh my God, I'm so glad I did the mini because I screwed up the stitch pattern, but now I totally know what I did wrong and I'm doing it right in the real sweater, which is that is the real joy of it. Oh yeah, we're gonna have prizes. Got some prizes. This usually I do one knit along that has a lot of vendor contributions for prizes, and then often vendors give you so much that then I just save stuff for the next knit along. So I have a huge apartment full of merch that I'm going to be dividing up into the grand prize packages and then the individual skeins that I'll be shipping out for the in progress packages. So that'll be fun. Thank you. I'm okay with short rows, like longer length. Yeah, but if you like longer length, then just keep going on that front before you start the short rows. But the straight across, you take a look at the pictures and see what you think. Often people will remove what is the one feature that kind of is the design feature that makes that garment special. The same thing with tortola. Some people chop tortola flat across, but then also the number of stitches that were around the base are there to be curved. So if you chop it off flat, it also sometimes can, splay a little bit. And so just whatever you're going to do on the sweater, do on the mini and see if you like the way it looks. So there you go. Just registered for April 24th. Yay! Okay, so what are people knitting? You guys talk to me for a little bit. I'm going to knit. And then soon I'm going to get back to work. But the other thing I wanted to know, so you guys tell me, does everyone know about the virtual Vogue? Have you guys seen that? They announced it. Vogue Knitting Live is doing like a virtual show. So I'm teaching 8 classes and 2 lectures. That's a really full boat. And then there's going to be a virtual marketplace and tons of stuff. So I was waiting to get my schedule from Vogue because I don't want to undercut them and I don't want to, and I also want to make sure that you guys get as much content as you can. So I was waiting to see what their class choices were so that I knew what other classes I wanted to teach. But the one thing I want you guys to think about it for me and maybe, pop some comments. You don't have to answer this second because you can comment later. There's a difference between a webinar presentation, which is, more similar to when you come to a class of mine at Vogue and there's no knitting involved, but it's, like make your gauge work or customizing sweater patterns or, one of the classes that's primarily lecture and demos and you guys watching, blocking, stuff like that. That I can use the webinar format and you guys join with cameras off and I can have as many people in there as I want. That's one reason that they can be such a low price. But what I'm thinking is if I do a knitting class, then I'm probably going to cap it at 30 people and we'll use the meeting format where your cameras can be on. You don't have to have them on. You control when you turn them on. For security, the host can turn the mic on for you. If you raise your hand, they can call on you and say, I'm going to turn your mic on. But they can't turn your camera on, obviously, because what if you decide, I'm going to attend the class naked, which you totally can. That's why you can't turn someone's mic on. Camera. But if I did a knitting class, and this is what I want you guys to think about. One idea is that, say it's a class where I'm demoing some things, like it's a cast on bind off class, or it's a, a drop stitch class, or it's a class that is involving, maybe advanced knitting fixes or something where I'm demoing something and then you're giving it a try. First of all, for my classes that I'll present, I'm going to be able to record them so that you can have the recording, watch it as many times as you want, and then I'll be able to sell that later. Those classes are just live because they have to be just live because otherwise, they have to get into ownership and royalties and all that stuff. It's too complicated when there's other teachers. But when I'm the producer and the teacher, I can do whatever I want. So the question is, I have a picture on my website from back in the day when I used to do private lessons. And I showed a picture of an iPad on a stand, like how you prop up an iPad when you're watching TV. And I show, if you want to watch the class on the iPad or an iPhone on a stand, if you raise your hand and ask me can you look at my knitting, you can hold your hands, you can flip the camera. Oh no, you don't even have to flip the camera. Normally the camera is coming out the back, right? You'd have to flip it to have it face you. And you can hold your hands in front of the camera to show me, and I'm looking at Knitter's View. So here's my question, and you might not all have the answer to this, and I might just have to experiment. In a live class, you're all sitting there with other people, and sometimes you're with your friends, and you can be concentrating on your own knitting, trying something, and it doesn't seem boring if I'm not in the front of the room, but I'm in fact walking around the class looking at people while they're working something. So my question is, if that were a video class, a live streaming class, and I demoed something, and then I had a video of me doing that I ran, so that anytime you wanted to, you could look up and see it run. But then I basically walked around the room, meaning I say, okay, so if anyone, now you guys give it a try. If anyone wants me to look at you doing it, raise your hand. And when I, call on you, you can turn your camera on and I'll take a look. How do you think that would work out? Because the main difference is I'm going to be on mic. So I don't think there's a way for me to just talk to one person. So what that means is when it's a live class and I'm walking around and someone says, can you look at me? I'm having trouble. I could just say, oh, okay, so you're going to want to focus on, X, Y. And I'm just talking quietly to that person. But in a video class, that's just going to be me talking. Does that make sense? Did I describe that well? I can't tell if I described that well. And no one's saying anything, so either it's boring or, I don't know. Well, anyway, if that makes sense, let me know. It takes a lot of thinking to decide what class topics are suitable for live streaming. And obviously, if I'm capping a knitting class just at 30 people, that would be a different price range type of situation. I wouldn't be able to charge $16.99 for that. It'd be a little more expensive versus a webinar where, you can have hundreds of people in the room. So anyway, think about that. I can't tell whether you're here or not because everyone's gone silent. But there you go. So I think I'm going to hop off because no one else is talking to me anymore. And I really want to figure out this cast on. I really want to unvent this cast on. Because if I did, it would be so cool. And then I got to get this column. I got to knit all my little swatches and photograph them. I'm so happy with this thing that I invented, though. And here, I'll just show it to you really fast. That's all. And then write my column. Okay, so no one's saying anything anymore, so I think you're gone. I don't know, are you gone? Are you still there? Am I still here? Why is there air? That's a really old reference. Okay, I don't know. No one's saying anything. So I don't know if you're gone. Maybe you're gone. Oh no! I forgot to click the closed caption button. Does that mean I'm not going to have closed captions when this is done? I got to get better at this. Okay, anyway, I don't know if I'm still here because no one's saying anything. So maybe you're all gone. Maybe you've all left the building because this is really boring. So I guess I'll say see you next week and maybe I'll hop off. How do we feel about that? Maybe? I don't know. No one's saying anything. I don't know why there are no more comments. I guess you've all left. Okay. Well, then I'll say bye. I'll see you next week.